Dad is here today, but he grew up with his dad in and out of his life and mostly out of it. Emily grew up with the same thing, but without her mom. So just from how present Nate is with Emily in the pregnancy, that he's already much more present for that little boy than his dad was.
So, two people having similar life stories, you know? One had dad in and out, one had mum in and out, and therefore brought them together. And, you know, sometimes, my apologies, and sometimes when these things happen, some people can end up becoming like their parents. But then for some people, they can end up becoming better than their parents. Now, here's the thing, though. When it came to their parents, they all both had, well, let's put it this way. When it comes to Nate, his mum had him when she was quite young. She was still a teen too. His dad was 17. So really and truly, fair enough, he may have a different mindset right now in terms of how he wants to be there for his child. But at the same time, though, he still made the same mistake. I'm going to call it a mistake. If that offends you, then it is what it is. But he's made the same mistake of getting pregnant at a very, very young age. Okay? So really and truly, I would say that maybe it's too early to judge how Nate's going to behave moving forward, you know, when it comes to how he's going to be, or when it comes to how active he's really going to be in his child's life. You see what I'm saying? Fair enough with his father became a drunk, and that's something that definitely allowed his father to be in and out of the relationship, or in and out of the relationship with his mum as well as himself. Obviously, right now, Nate isn't someone who's a drunk, but he has got trauma that's still here because of his father. And some of that trauma is very concerning for myself. And to be fair, Emily also makes it abundantly too. And we'll get into that trauma in a second.
Going to the races were miserable because my dad would be drunk or whatever. I remember so many times him just yelling at me because I didn't do good enough.
I want you to remember the fact that whenever his dad used to come to his races, his bike races, his dad used to tell him that he wasn't doing good enough unless he won. And that's something that definitely stuck with him for quite a while, and something that's linked up to how he could potentially become like his father because of that trauma.
Super upset, kind of like an upset I've never seen him before, and I honestly didn't know how to help. I just felt really bad.
I didn't win.
Hey, it's okay.
No, well, there's no reason to be in first if I'm not going to win.
I know, but...
So here's the thing. First and foremost, Emily finally experiences what Nate's like when he doesn't win. And she says, obviously, for the most part, he's such a lovely guy. But now she's experienced what he's like when he doesn't win. And obviously, when he doesn't win, he becomes a sore loser. Why? Because of his father. In fact, his father's the person you see on the screen right now, William. And here's the thing, because his dad always made him feel as if he wasn't good enough unless he wins, well, here's the thing, that's something that has carried on with him, and that's why he's become a sore loser, you know, respectfully so, in terms of the fact that if he's not winning, then there's no point. And sadly, that's a trauma he's got. So the reason I say this is because, you see, Emily makes a fair point. She says, obviously, I've never seen this side of him, and this is a side of him that obviously I've heard about, but I've never experienced. And because of that, I don't know if he's now going to be fully committed to our baby when the baby comes, because there's going to be challenges when the baby comes, you see what I'm saying? And if he's somebody that's easily frustrated when things doesn't go his own way because of him being a sore loser, when it comes to his race mode, that's something that could potentially translate into his parenthood. You see what I'm saying? So that's why obviously Emily's now like, oh, at first I was confident that we're going to be together for like X amount of time because, hey, things are good. But now I'm seeing this side of him. I wouldn't want this side to come out when we become parents. And to be fair, it is a fair warning. It is something to definitely be looked at and something to not let go over your head. You see what I'm saying? But hopefully, you know, Nate can, I would say hopefully he can get some type of therapy, you know what I mean? Because I feel like this is something that he definitely needs to conquer. It's a demon that's obviously that's haunted him for a long time, and it's going to continue haunting him, especially as long as his father is still around in his life, popping up here, there, and everywhere, and being the way he is. Fair enough, his father's now been sober, which is fantastic, but at the same time that the damage has been done, and really and truly, I feel like he needs to have a conversation with his father so his father can give him the reassurance and say, hey son, do you know what, I was wrong. I should have never done that. I should never put the pressure on you. And I understand me doing that has now put you in a position where it's not healthy for yourself. And I take full accountability of all my actions. Hopefully, if his father can have that conversation with him, that would actually help him. Because really and truly, we don't want him in the future to end up turning out like his father. Because really and truly, when people are so hell-bent on being winners and not losers and they can't stand it, sometimes they may also end up turning to the drink as well. And that's something that we don't want. Because so far, he's gotten a young lady pregnant, pretty much around the same age, well, not the same age, but slightly younger than where his father got his mother pregnant. So really and truly, there's already a chain of events moving forward. And also the same thing obviously goes for Emily too in terms of her pregnancy and, you know, her mother and XYZ. But nonetheless, though, these are things that I've noticed that I feel like should not be going over people's heads and should be taken seriously. But with that being said, though, let's move on to the next couple.
I decided that I was going to move to Myrtle. I was like, well, I've got to just ask Aiden. So I called him and I asked him, and he just said, drop child support. I don't give a So that's.
Imagine that. Aiden was like, if you want to move somewhere else, then drop child support and I'll give you the go ahead. So what did she do? She agreed to it.
That's what I did, and I went on my marriage. I taught myself how to monetize my social media. I mean, I've made a ridiculous amount of money just on Instagram ads for like baby products.
So right now, Jenna is under the influence that because she's been able to make money off of social media, that she should be okay for the time being until further notice. I mean, listen, at the end of the day, if she feels the need that she wants to move, and the reason why she wants to move is because she's got back with an old fling, JJ. Now, here's the thing. JJ is 19. You know, Jenna's 20, and all I can say is this, is that JJ needs to make his choices wisely because he's only 19, and to get into a relationship with a young lady who's already got a child before he's even started living his own life and before he's even found his own way in life, that's a big risk to take, you know what I mean? And that's not to, you know, to like say, hey, just because she's got a kid, that's not the point. The point is that they're both very young, and JJ is not the one that got pregnant, you see what I'm saying? So he's still got a whole life ahead of him, and really and truly, it is a big responsibility dating somebody who's got a kid if you haven't even got your shit together. And at the end of the day, he's only 19. Is he going to be able to take a responsibility of now being with a girl who's got a child, and also on top of that still chasing his own goals in life when it comes to his career? At 19, that's a very, very sticky one. So if anything, at 19, that's probably the time you want to avoid being with someone who's got, you know, a child. If anything, I would say maybe when you're late on in life, 25, 30, when you've actually found yourself, you got your career sorted out, you know, obviously where you are, then fair enough, dating someone with a child, no big deal. You see what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, at least you're stable within yourself. He's 19. He hasn't got that stability right now. So to be honest with you, this whole JJ thing sounds a bit sticky. But either way, though, the fact that she agreed to move all the way to another state to be with JJ and therefore stopping Aiden from paying child support, that's a wild thing. To be honest with you, she was better off staying where she was at and getting that child support off him, because right now she's let Aiden off free just because she's able to make money herself. And I get it, but boy, the risk she's taking is a big, big, big risk.
It's ridiculous. Like, I'm almost 20 years old. Like, I've lived on my own for 2 years.
So here's the thing, because she's 20 years of age, she believes that she doesn't have to listen to the advice of her own dad. So dad is trying to give advice regarding the whole child support thing, but she's like, nope, I don't want to hear it. I made my choice, and if things go wrong, then it is what it is. I will be accountable for my own mistakes, and I will learn from them. I respect the fact that she wants to learn from her own mistakes, but boy, the mistakes you're making, you got to be careful that these mistakes don't affect your child too much, or if not at all. Because at the end of the day, it's one thing to make mistakes when you are by yourself in this world, but to make mistakes when you're responsible for another human being, a mistake that you could have prevented, yeah, that's not really the best mindset to have, really and truly. So for me personally, I would say that she's making the wrong choices by upping and leaving and let Aiden get away scot-free with this whole child support thing. She should have stayed where she was at. And if her and JJ was ready to ever work, I guess long distance was basically what they needed to do, if you ask me. But instead, she's moving all the way to him. And well, I guess we shall wait and see how the season develops with their relationship. But for me personally, what she's doing ain't right. But hey, that's just my opinion. With that being said, let's move on to the next couple.
And I'm going to be a grandmother. I had my first child at 17 as well. My mom was like me, like welcoming. I don't have a horror story about.
So we meet Anaya this week, Anaya and Daquan. And, you know, as you can see, she's very young. And it's crazy because the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Going back to this, well, I guess to every couple, but going back to the first couple with Nate and Emily. You know, we know that these are two people who got pregnant at a very young age, and it is a replication of their own parents. Now, fast forward here, we have Anaya, and she's literally the same thing. She's got pregnant, and her mom had the same thing. So really and truly, it makes you wonder sometimes, does being a teen parent, is it really a wise thing? If you're a teen parent, and then your kids also end up becoming teen parents, and then it becomes generational, someone has to stop that change. You see what I'm saying? In fact, I actually worked with someone before who actually said that, hey, in my family, everyone's pretty much been like a teen parent, and I've made sure that I never became that. And you know what? Kudos to her, because really and truly, why? You know what I mean? You got your whole life ahead of you. Being a teen parent, it should not be and I'm not saying it's a goal, but for some people, it is literally a goal for them to be pregnant as young as possible. You know what I mean? And it's so sad because really and truly, in my opinion, your young years are the years where you find yourself, you discover yourself, you find your self-worth, you learn how to love yourself, all those things that really help build your character and help you understand what your boundaries are in life and your wants and needs before putting yourself in a position where it can make things a bit more challenging. But either way, though, it is quite sad that we're witnessing the young ladies in this show and young men in these shows who are literally becoming a clone of their own freaking parents. And it makes you wonder about their parents' parenting, if you dig what I'm saying. And of course, as a young parent, you're going to make a lot of mistakes. Sadly, those mistakes can then also affect your children. And when they affect your children, well, this is one of the results that you can get. But anyway, with that being said, that's what I have to say about Naya and Daquan this episode so far. But I will say this though, Naya's energy, I do worry about it because she's still acting as if she is a cheerleader. She's still acting as if she is still in a position where she can still go out there and live her best life. When in reality, her mum's warned her that, hey, your years of living your best life when you're young, they're about to change. You're going to have to make a lot of changes to make things work for your child. And that is nothing else but the truth. But nonetheless, well, that's nothing else but the truth, given the fact that she plans on being a good parent. Yeah. Of course, I'm sure she plans on it, but not everybody does it. You know what I'm saying? Because when the baby comes and you get hit with reality of how hard it is, it's a whole different conversation. But with that being said, let's move on to the last couple. So, Kaylee and Graham. Last week, I went in on Graham quite a little bit, but this week, ooh-wee. Kaylee is a spoiled child. It's her 16th birthday, and what did her mum do? Her mum and dad bought her a freaking car. A Jeep, by the looks of it too. I think it's a Jeep. Looking fresh. 4x4. Damn, SUV. One of those things. Kaylee is so freaking spoiled, it's disgusting. You know, I mean, even Graham can't even fathom the idea of her being so spoiled. So here's the thing. Why would you reward your child a car when she's got pregnant at such a young age, just because of sweet 16? But you know what though? Let me not say anything right now. Let me play some more because boy, the mom's behavior is unacceptable.
Kaylee being pregnant and this is her 16th birthday, we still want to make it special. This was a big purchase, so it wasn't easy for Jeff and I to do, but we're going to do it. Okay, Mom. She's still my fun, giddy teenager, but she is going to have to grow up and mature a little bit more and realize that it's not just about her, because now she's going to have to focus on baby as well.
How is your giddy little fun teenager meant to mature if you're still doing things for her? You're still gifting her things. You see what I'm saying? At the end of the day, you're making life easy for her. Maturity is going to be very hard for it to happen if she's always been giving things to her. Maturity is going to be slightly easier if she's actually made to work for things. I mean, listen, Gray made it clear that from his family, both his mom and dad had to earn a way to pay for their own cars. And it's the same thing that he's going to have to do too. This is the thing. She needs to be given this, she needs to be put in the same position. But hey, mommy over here says she's still a teenager, which is true. It's a 16th, which is true. So therefore, she still wants to gift her and give her something big. But you know what though? It's one thing to gift your 16-year-old a car on your 16th birthday, despite the fact that your 16-year-old has other responsibilities ahead of them, and despite the fact that you want your 16-year-old to actually start to mature and be independent. But then there's other bits, and let's get into them.
So they don't waste their gas money.
Oh yeah, the audacity to even ask for gas money moving forward too. Hilarious. And as you can see, my man here is like, what have we done? Well, that's a good question. What have you done? You're both failing. That's what you've both done. You're failing.
Only now we'll be giving you gas money so you can put it in your car.
After driving today, I figured out that I don't need a car because I feel like once I'm even allowed to drive my own, I would definitely still let my parents drive me.
Imagine that. You buy your child a car on their 16th birthday. They go out for a spin. They realize that they're not really a big fan of driving. And then they say to you, hey, guess what? I know you spent all this money in this car, but I don't need it because you're still going to drive me around. Talk about ungrateful. Talk about entitlement. But the thing is, though, why is she ungrateful? Why is she so entitled? Why does she have this attitude? It's because you see, mommy over here doesn't have a backbone. Mommy over here doesn't put her foot down and say, hey, you need to start respecting what I'm doing for you. But at the same time, though, how can she respect what mom does for her if her mom is always bent over backwards to do everything for her at any means necessary? And then also on top of that, let's get into the next bit.
Because
To drive you around for the rest of your life, you and Easton, and to do everything that you want at the drop of a hat, when you want to do it, ain't happening.
Mom can say it's not happening, but mom needs to ask the question. The question my mom should be asking is, what gives you the confidence to think that I'm going to do all these things for you? That's the real question, because at the end of the day, for her to have all this confidence is because you've given it to her. Take that accountability. Recognize that. Don't let that go over your head. Most importantly, don't ignore it.
Kaylee, please, a freaking curvy road. Shut up. God, I can hear you. Stop, mother of God, get me out of this car.
Now this is scaring me because she's about to be a mom, and
That's a whole lot more scarier than driving.
What's scaring me is the fact that you've raised her this way, to be honest with you. And it's crazy because you see, even though the mum denies it and says, oh no, I'm going to let her, you know, become a parent. Let's be real. When the baby comes and things get tough, when the baby's here and crying and whatever other challenges you have as a parent, let's be real. Mummy's going to be there to the rescue. And that's why Kaylee's chilling. That's why she's not worried about the challenges of being a mum. She's relaxing because she knows no matter what happens, her mum is always going to be there to look after her and to do what's best for her. Well, at least in her eyes, she's going to see it as what's best for her. It's so freaking sad. Like, yo, this is crazy. Kaylee's mum needs to do better. Will she ever do better? Probably not. Sadly so. But she needs to do better because really and truly, you're allowing your child to, well, be ungrateful. You're allowing her maturity levels to slow down. Well, I guess we have to see how the season plans out. But right now, when it comes to Graham and Emily, these two are complete polar opposites. He comes from a life where he has to earn things. She comes from a life where she's just giving things. Savage. With that being said, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and of course, peace.